Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna show you my step-by-step process on how to set up Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager on your Shopify store. So if that sounds interesting to you, hey, you're on the right video. So as I'm sure you know, Shopify has built-in analytics that will show you exactly how your Shopify store is doing and give you useful information that'll help you grow your store. But sometimes you need access to more data. Well, I've got you covered, because by the end of this video, you'll have Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager set up in your store. You'll be able to get even more data on what your customers are doing on your Shopify store. And as a special bonus tip, I will show you how to set up custom event tracking on your Shopify store so you can take your data insights to the next level. If that sounds great to you, let's get started right now. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. You can see down here on my screen that I created a live Shopify store called the Code That Converts Test Store. So we're gonna set up Google Analytics on this. So what you're first gonna do is you're gonna hop over to, you can just type in Google Analytics into your search bar and it should take you to the website. Yep, Google Analytics. Now, I already have a Google account set up, so it's gonna take me right to my Google account, but you're gonna wanna set up a Google account of your own. The analytics you're seeing right now is for a different website. I'm gonna show you how to set this up though. So we're gonna go into admin, and here you can see all the information in your account. You're gonna click on create property. In Google Analytics, a property refers to a data source. In our case, our data source is gonna be a Shopify store. So we're gonna create a new property. We're gonna give the property a name. I'm gonna call it the Code That Converts Test Store. And I'm gonna set my time to New York time because I'm a New Yorker. And you're gonna click on all the information that's applicable to you. If you are a new Shopify merchant, I'm gonna assume you're clicking on small, or if you're an experienced merchant, maybe medium, but most likely small. Select the category. You can select whatever category is applicable to you. I'm just gonna pick a random one because it doesn't matter. Internet and telecom. Click on next. You can list out your business objectives. This is important if you decide to use other Google tools, but for now, it doesn't really matter for me. So I'll just say drive online sales. Okay, cool. At this point, you're gonna click on web and you're gonna type in the URL of your Shopify store. So my Shopify store is Code That Converts Test Store.myshopify.com. If you've set up a custom domain for your Shopify store, you can use that as well. And give the stream a name. So I'm gonna call this CTC Shopify Store. Now, I'm naming the data stream. This is gonna be important in a second. And if you're using Google Analytics 4, which is now the default, they're gonna give you the option to do enhanced measurements, which basically means they're tracking a bunch of extra stuff for you that they didn't track for you in the past for free without any additional setup. That's page views, scrolls, as in scroll events when someone's scrolling down your site, outbound clicks when someone leaves your site, site search, video engagement, file downloads, form interactions. These are all basic interactions that happen on any website that they just decide to track for you. You see I made the mistake right here. By typing in HTTPS, it does it for me. So I'm gonna click on create stream. Okay, cool. Now it's gonna give me instructions on how I can set up my Google tag. Normally, I would tell you how to do this in your own theme, but Shopify already has a way for us to finish connecting our Shopify store without having to mess around in the code ourselves. Okay, to finish the installation, we're gonna hop back over to Shopify and we're going to go to online store and then preferences. If we scroll down, we should see something about Google Analytics. So we're gonna install something called the Google Channel app. So we're gonna click on Manage Pixel here, and it's gonna prompt us to install the Google Channel app. We're gonna install it. Add sales channel. It says no Google account is connected, so we're gonna connect one. We're gonna connect the one you just made. Now I made my Google account under my email at Code That Converts. You're gonna use whatever email you use to set up your Shopify store. So whatever email you use for the Shopify store, you're gonna wanna use that email when setting up Google Analytics. Wow. Cool. Now it gives me the option to connect a Google Analytics property. In your case, this is most likely going to be the first property you're setting up. In my case, I have a separate website, my main site for Code That Converts, that I also have set up as a property. So I'm going to click the property that I just created and then press connect. Okay, that's all I need to do to finish setting up Google Analytics. So now Google Analytics is set up. Now we're going to move on to connecting Google Tag Manager. If you want to test to make sure your installation is working, you can open up a window in Google Incognito and you can go to your Shopify store and look at a random product page. I did that and you can see I got 2 users in the last 30 minutes. Those 2 users were both me. If I look at view real time, I can see what the users did. What I did was I went to the main page and then I went to a page called Garden Shears, which is one of the test products that I had set up on my store. And then you can see over here, they're providing you basic information for actions that users would take, page view, first visit, when their session started, if they scrolled on the page, and more Google Analytics stuff. But if you see data flowing in, you set it up properly. All right, now let's move on to Google Tag Manager. Okay, so for the next step of this process, you're gonna create a Google Tag Manager account. Hop in your browser, go to Google, type in Google Tag Manager, click on the first link that pops up. I already have a Google account, so they just linked over everything. But if you just set up your Google Analytics account, you're gonna also wanna set up a Google Tag Manager account using the same email. And it's gonna take you to this window over here. In accounts, you can see I already have something set up. If you hop over to Google Tags, you should see a tag for the Google Analytics that you just currently set up in the previous part of the video if you use the same email. But you're gonna hop over to accounts, you're gonna create a new account. Now with this step, what you're doing is you're creating a Google Tag Manager container. A container is where you're gonna store all of your tags to help you connect different data tools you use to run your Shopify store. For now, you're only using Google Analytics, but in the future, you might make use of other analytics tools or other third-party scripts. And Google Tag Manager is a place where you can keep track of everything at once. So I want you to imagine this really briefly. Imagine you use 4 different tools. Imagine you use Analytics, Tag Manager. You also use Google Conversions to do split tests. And you also have a Google Ads account. Instead of having to manage all those different tags, what you can do is you can use Google Tag Manager to manage all those tags for you. Now, because those are all Google products, the Google Sales Channel might be able to help you out with that. But let's say you're using a bunch of different third-party tools instead of the examples I gave you. Google Tag Manager can manage all the scripts in one place. That way, you don't have to keep jumping in to edit the code yourself. You just add the Google Tag Manager container to your Shopify theme and you're good to go. All right, so we're gonna type in the name of your company. Just fill this stuff out. You're gonna put the name of your container. You can just put the name of your Shopify store, or you can put the URL of your Shopify store. For me, I'm just gonna put CTC Shopify Test Store. The platform is web. Then we click create, and then you agree to this. Okay, now I created an account and a container for the Shopify store that I have. You're gonna take this script tag right here, and you're gonna take this body tag right here, and I'm gonna show you how you can install these into your Shopify theme. We're gonna have to go into the code for a little bit, but don't panic, I got you. So you're gonna go over to your Shopify store, you're gonna hover over online store and go to themes. You can see I have a few different themes here. I'm gonna assume you only have one. I'm using Dawn, a slightly modified version of Dawn. You're gonna click these 3 dots right here, and the first thing you're gonna do is click duplicate. Now, the reason you're clicking duplicate is because you never want to work on the live version of your theme. We're editing theme code here. If you make a mistake, if you fuck this up, you don't want to be in a position in which you break real functionality on your store and you destroy the user experience of your store. Like, imagine you make a mistake and the add to cart functionality no longer works. You don't want that. So always duplicate your theme before you start working on it. All right, so I made a copy right here. I'm just gonna rename it. I'm gonna call it Dawn adding GTM container. Lovely. Click save. We're gonna work on this theme. Click on the three dots right here, go to edit code. All right, so if we go back to the instructions Google Tag Manager gave us, it said paste this code in the head of the page. So we're gonna click right here for copy. Make sure you copied it. We're gonna hover back over here. We're gonna go to a file called theme.liquid. It's inside the layout folder. If you can't find it, you can just type in theme.liquid and it should pop up for you. This is the main layout file for your theme. It's where our head tag is located. So it said, place this code as high in the head tag of the page as possible. So we're gonna put it at the top of the head tag. Let's put it after this link tag right here. Let's put it right here. Google Tag Manager, nice. And we're gonna save that. The next thing it tells us to do is to paste this code immediately after the opening body tag. We're gonna copy this. You're gonna look for the body tag right here. The body tag should come after the head tag finishes. So the body tag for me starts on line 249. If you get confused, you could just do Control or Command F, depending on if you have Windows or Mac, and just type in the words body, and you'll find it eventually. You wanna make sure it looks like this though. It has that less than sign or less than symbol before it. That's the body tag. It said to paste it immediately after the opening of the body tag. So we're gonna do exactly what it says. And we're gonna save this. All right, so the hard part is done. We've added the Google Tag Manager scripts to our Shopify theme. So we're gonna come out, and what we're gonna do first is you're gonna preview the theme to make sure everything looks good. You might wanna try out a few basic functionalities on your theme to make sure nothing's broken. Now, if you followed the instructions exactly as I gave you, nothing should be broken, but pause the video, test out your theme real quick to make sure everything is good before continuing. And if it's good, you're going to publish this version of the theme. Cool. Now, you want to make sure this was set up properly. So Google Tag Manager allows you to run a preview. So let's preview this right now. You type in the name, you type in the URL of your Shopify store into Tag Manager. It should connect you over, and you can see there's going to be a window down here that says Tag Assistant, and it says Tag Connected. I'm going to try doing a few little basic things. Let's look at this product page right here, and let's scroll on the page, and then let's go to the cart page. If we hop back over to Tag Assistant's literally showing you what I did. So you can see I was on the main page of my Shopify store. Right here, there's an event called Link Click that was triggered when I clicked on the product page. And then it says, okay, I went to the product page. You can see the product page right here in the URL. It shows you all the things I did on the page. And then I clicked another link to go to the cart page. So if you're seeing all this stuff in your Google Tag Manager preview window, it means Tag Manager was properly set up for your Shopify site. So you can click on Finish. Now you have Tag Manager set up properly. Now we can talk about how we can use Google Tag Manager to start tracking user behavior and additional events on your Shopify store. Okay, so now I want to talk through how we can start using Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics to start tracking user behavior on the Shopify store. But before we do, let me just show you this again briefly. I'm inside of my Google Analytics dashboard. If I go over to admin and I go to property settings, now I'm going to go to data streams. I want you to click on this, and I just want you to show you this real quick. So if you set up a Google Analytics account now, it's going to give you access to a version of Google Analytics called Google Analytics 4, the latest version. So in the latest version, it tracks these things for you automatically under the window called Enhanced Measurement. Inside of Enhanced Measurement, it automatically tracks page views, as in when someone views the page, right? Scrolls on the page, outbound clicks, meaning when you click a link that takes you outside of your Shopify store. Site search, it tracks video engagement. If someone decides to play a video or watch a video that's somewhere on your Shopify store. It tracks file downloads, think like lead magnets or things like that. And it tracks form interactions. If somebody was to sign up for some kind of opt-in form on your Shopify store. So with all that in mind, let's say on your Shopify store, you wanted to use the announcement bar section that exists in the Shopify Dawn theme to see if you can send traffic from the announcement bar over to a specific product collection. Maybe you're running a sale or something like that. You set it up in the Dawn theme. Now, if you're not using the Dawn theme, it's fine. But I just wanted to show you this so you know what I'm talking about. The Dawn theme has this section called announcement bar, and I've decided to use the announcement bar to set up a link to my home and garden favorites collection. So let's say I wanted to track how many people actually get to this collection by clicking the link in the announcement bar versus by getting to it using a different part of the store. We're gonna use Google Tag Manager to set up a tag that's going to analyze how much people actually click on this link. Okay, so we know we want to track. Now let's get to tracking. We're gonna hop over into Google Chrome. You're gonna type in LFR GTM event builder. It's gonna take you to a Chrome extension called LFR GTM Event Builder. You are going to add this to your Google Chrome. And if you're not on Chrome, stop it. Get on Chrome. Okay, you're going to download the extension, and then you're going to go to your Shopify store, and you're going to click on this icon up here to start making use of the extension. You can see that I had the extension set up for my website, codethatconverts.com. But I'm gonna press switch website and add a new website. You type in the URL of your website, your Shopify store. And let's say I put my goal is to track user behavior with GTM events with Google Tag Manager events. Continue. Okay, so to give you a bunch of options, you're gonna pick the first one. I know it says start 15-day trial. I'm gonna get nervous for a second, but if you look at it, it costs $0 a month. So in order to make use of this extension, you gotta sign up for LFR. LFR is an app that has lots of useful things that'll help you with your analytics, but for now, we're just gonna focus on the first tier, that is $0 a month. If you get to the point in your Shopify store where you're doing thousands per month, then it'd make more sense to look into some of these more advanced plans. But for now, just pick the first one that's free. Start 15-day trial. Continue. Ignore all of this stuff and go to checkout. You have to set up your card, confirm and pay. Again, it costs $0. You have to put in your card, but it doesn't cost anything. And if they do try to charge you, just reach out to the LFR customer support team and work it out with them. I've been using this myself on my other site. They don't charge me at all. So this is what I recommend. You're signing up for it, cool. And you're gonna go back to your site. I'm just gonna refresh the list. You can see my Shopify store is in a list of websites. GTM's not connected yet. Okay, cool. I'm going to connect GTM to this Elevar Chrome extension. So click on authenticate, click your email. Quickly, as a side note, when you're authenticating, you want to make sure you select the level of access you want to give Elevar. Just check all of these. You're just saying that Elevar is allowed to see and download your Google Analytics data, view and manage your Google Tag Manager accounts, and allow you to manage your GTM container. Okay, so it should be done, and then you're going to connect Elevar to Google Tag Manager. I have 2 accounts named Code That Converts. You're gonna have one, so click the one that makes sense for you. I'm gonna hook up the Shopify test store that I have, but you're gonna use the store you set up. It's asking for the GTM container, and then it's asking for the workspace. Click default workspace. So just real quick before we continue, make sure you select your account, make sure you select the right Shopify GTM container. If you're doing this for the first time, you'll only have one container, and then select the default workspace. All right, it has access to all your info for GTM, so you should be able to go back in here and get this to work. You're gonna refresh the list, click on your Shopify store, and now we can get started with creating our very first event. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the content so far. We're taking a quick little break to hear a word from our sponsor, me. Yeah, I'm today's sponsor. So I'm actively taking on new Shopify clients right now. So if you've been looking for help with your Shopify store, go click the link in the description down below. Check the description. The link should be underneath the title. Get help with your Shopify store. If you're a fan of the channel and think we'd work well together, don't hesitate. Go sign up for that right now. Okay, back to the video. Now that Elevar is set up, we can get started with tracking our very first event. So I've taken you back to my Shopify store. And remember, we want to test for clicks on this link right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the Elevar GTM event builder, and we're going to create our first event. Now, these are the 4 trigger types for the events. An event trigger is essentially what has to happen in order for Elevar to let GTM know, hey, this event started. So for our use case, we're going to use the click. Now the cool thing here is that it makes the screen interactive and allows you to click on what element you want to watch in GTM. So for our use case, we're gonna click on the announcement bar. Now the link to the announcement bar is right here, but just to make sure we catch all the clicks, because sometimes if you hover over the text, you might miss the actual link that's supposed to trigger this. So let's just click the entire thing, the entire announcement bar. And it allows you to specify what pages you want to click this on. So let's say we want to check to see how many people click the announcement bar on all pages. Confirm and save trigger. Okay, the trigger set up, so now we're gonna create a tag for the trigger. So we have the trigger, that's gonna trigger the tag to work. Now let's create the actual tag itself. So for this, you're gonna wanna make sure you pick Google Analytics GA4 event. You do not want to pick Google Analytics UA event because Google is actually deprecating Universal Analytics inside of Google Analytics, which means Google's no longer using this. So you're only going to use a GA4 event. Okay, it says GTM data sync required. You're just going to want to make sure you sync your data. Okay, as you can see here, if you read this description, it says this tag needs access to GTM data, as this is used to allow you to select GA4 configuration tag. In the data we have stored for this website, no GA4 configuration tag exists. So we need to set up a GA4 configuration tag inside of GTM in order to continue with this process. So let's actually go do that next. Okay, so we have to go in and create a configuration tag. So let's go do that. So we're gonna open up your Tag Manager dashboard. I'll just do it over here. Okay, I'm in Tag Manager now. Remember, I have 2 containers, but you should only have 1 for your Shopify store. So I'm gonna click on this one right here, and I'm gonna head over to tags. I'm gonna go to new, and I'm gonna title this one GA4 configuration. And you can just put the name of your Shopify store afterwards. I'll just put CTC Shopify store. And then for the tag, I'm gonna click GA4 configuration. And for the measurement ID, I'm going to put the ID of the tag In order to get the ID of the tag, I'm going to open up Tag Manager again. You are going to go to where it says Google Tags, and then here should be the tag ID. It's going to say G dash something. Don't take the GT one, take the G one. And if you're having issues finding it there, you can open up your analytics dashboard instead for Google Analytics, and you can go to admin and properties. Hold on. And then here you should be able to find it. Let me see if I can find mine. Yep. I went to data streams and I found it. It's going to be the measurement ID. G dash blah 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 blah. You can see it matches the one I have in here. Either way, when you do find it, you're going to put it in here. And then you're going to keep this checked. Send a page view event when the configuration loads. And then you're going to create a basic trigger for this. You just put it on all pages. And that's about it. Okay, if you follow those instructions, you're going to go back to the point in which we get to the sync the GTM data. And we're going to try to sync it now. Start sync. It should sync just fine now. Yep, that worked. And just to remind you of how we got here, what we did is we went here to GTM event builder. We're building our first event. Let me refresh the page. We're building our very first event. We go over to events. We click create new event. Remember, we're doing a click event on the announcement bar right here on all pages. And then we click add new tag, GA4 event. And because I already synced my container, it's showing me this. If it's not showing you this, just click sync your container. But now that we set up the configuration tag, it should work just fine. Now for event name, I'm going to put announcement bar click. And then you don't need to put any event parameters or user properties. This should be just fine. So we're going to click save tag info and then save event. So we have this event now. Now we're going to click import all to GTM. Okay, so now next thing we're going to do is we're going to hop over to GTM and we're going to actually make sure the event is set up properly. So now we're back inside of our Google Tag Manager account. If you go to your account, you should see something called workspace changes. You can see I have a bunch of changes. I have a built-in variable for click events. I have a new tag called GA4 event announcement bar click, as well as a trigger for that tag. That means that the tag we set up with the Elevar GTM event builder is actually popping up on our GTM account. So let's test the tag. Go to preview. Preview allows you to test to see how the tags in your GTM account are actually working on your live site. Go to connect. And it should bring you to your website, and it's going to say GTM _ debug with an ID. If this URL is up top, you know you're in the right place. Plus, you're going to see this thing at the bottom right of the screen, Tag Assistant. So if we hop back over to our GTM account, we can see we're inside of a preview of the testing for our tags. You see two things pop up here. You see the GTM container tag right here, and you see my Google Analytics tag that I set up. We're going to focus on the GTM tag. You can see in the GTM tag, the GA4 configuration event has been fired, which means that a simple page view is happening on your site right now. But you can see the GA4 event announcement bar click has not been triggered yet. So let's go back over here and let's click our announcement bar. Now we can see in tags fired, GA4 event announcement bar click has been fired. What does this mean? This means that the new tag that we added to our GTM using the Elevar event builder is actually working. So since we confirmed it's actually working, we should be able to see this data pop up inside of our Google Analytics account whenever someone decides to click on the announcement bar. So let's hop over to Google Analytics and check that out. Okay, so now we're back in our Google Analytics dashboard. And if you go to view real time, you can see I had one user in the last 30 minutes. View real time. And if you scroll down to the event count, you'll see one of the events that triggered is called announcement bar click. So we've successfully set up a new GA event in GTM, and we're actually receiving the data in our real-time analysis of our Shopify store. Now, if you're wondering why the data is showing up in real time and it's not showing up in home, is because the data takes some time to actually aggregate in the report snapshot. But if you can see the data in real time, so probably later on you'll see it pop up in your report snapshot. But we did it. So now I'm gonna show you an example of setting up an event for something else on our Shopify store, and we'll close out the video after that. Okay, now that we managed to capture a basic GA4 event with our announcement bar click, let's try to capture a different event. Let's try to capture the event of a form submission. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, I have an opt-in form for people to subscribe to my email list. Hopefully the opt-in form on your Shopify store is more impressive looking than mine, but either way, it's an opt-in form all the same. So let's see if we can capture a form submission. Create a new event right here, form submission. I'm going to hover over the form here, confirm and save the trigger. All right. I'm just gonna call this one opt-in form submission. And I'm gonna save that, save the event, and import all to GTM. All right, now if I hop over to my tag manager portal, you can see inside of it, I should have a new event now. All right, let's test out this new event right here. So I have the form trigger GA4 opt-in form submission event, and I should have a form element to go with it. All right, and let's try it out. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna hop over to my site, and I'm gonna opt into my email list. Boom. Okay, let's check it out inside of our Google Analytics account now. Now, the data won't show up in the report snapshot yet, but it should show up in my real-time report. Let me just back out of this. If I look at my real-time reports, I should see it. You can see down here, I have an event called form submit, but I also have another one called opt-in form submission. This one is actually the custom event that I set up with the Elevar GTM event builder. You can see that, the proof of that right here, it's called opt-in form submission. So it actually worked, but what actually also happened is that Google Analytics automatically tracks form submissions as part of the enhanced thing I showed you earlier. Hold on, I'll show you again. Yes, the enhanced measurements, I think it also includes form submissions. Yep, form interactions right here. So as I showed you earlier in the video, I'm showing you again, these specific events don't need to be tracked because Google Analytics will track it for you already as part of GA4. But anything that falls outside of these specific interactions, you're gonna wanna use GTM Elevar Event Builder to set up your own custom events and to track what's going on. Also, if you're using third-party software, like let's say you're using a form like ConvertKit or something like that, you can use the GTM Event Builder to tag that specific form versus a different type of form on your site. That way that you can differentiate between the two different types of forms. Okay, so that about does it. Okay, that about covers everything. If you've been following along so far, you are now in a position to start using Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager to start tracking customers on your Shopify store and gathering more data on them so you can make decisions that will help you grow your Shopify store. Great job. But if you're serious about taking your Shopify store to the next level, check out this next video about the 3 must-have Shopify apps to increase your sales on your Shopify store. I just know you're gonna love it. So check it out. The video should be right here. Go check it out right now.